I've loved my conversation with Chris Eubank Jr. in the past. We've had a couple. They've been thoughtful, they've been direct, they've been honest, they've been authentic. And I'm so very happy that he's kind enough to join us on this Monday evening to talk about this massive fight. Is he there? There he is, the great Chris Eubank Jr. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Really appreciate the time on this Monday evening.
What's up, Ariel? How you doing?
I'm doing great, my friend. I'm doing great. And first, if I may, can I just applaud you? What you did that week around town, those two, like that was, if there's ever a fighter that needs a master class on how to promote, how to be themselves, how to command the room, how to be cerebral, clinical with the trash talk, you owned everyone. It was you against the world. You were up there by yourself, and it was honestly mesmerizing. It was some of the best work. I'm not just saying it because you're here, because I said it long before I knew you were going to come on the show. Some of the best work that I've ever seen a fighter do in building up a fight. Well done.
You know what? And the funny thing is, I'm not even trying to build the fight up. It's not about it's not about selling the fight. The fight's already been sold. Um, I was doing things and saying things that I just believed were right, that were I believed had to be said, had to be exposed. Um, that was just me. It's there's a lot of shady people in this industry, and I love shining a light on those individuals.
I know you were sitting up there, next to coaches, Ben Shalom, etc., but it felt to me like it was you against everyone. Did you feel that same way?
For sure, yeah. I mean, Ben Shalom hasn't, he's not long in the tooth enough in terms of being in hostile environments. He can't compete with Eddie. Um, and my other teammates in Ronnie Davis and Jonathan Banks, again, they are not the talking types. So it was me against Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn, Nigel Benn, who ended up strangling me in the first press conference. Um, but it's okay. I've gone against uh, worse odds before and come out on top. It's nothing new to me going up against you know multiple people at the same time.
One fascinating byproduct of it all, I thought, was that for whatever reason, maybe you've had like a love-hate relationship with the British public. I thought after those, I kept reading the comment sections. Everyone was like, man, I really love this guy. I'm really rooting for Chris. I'm backing him on this one. And I don't know if you pay attention to this stuff, but I felt a massive shift in the support that you were receiving. Did you notice that?
To be completely honest, I stopped reading and focusing on comments and public opinion a long, long time ago. I've been um, I've been the bad guy for many, many years. I said it in that first press conference. I've been booed into every single UK fight against the UK fighter for the last 11 years. So, um, being a good guy or having the support that a lot of fighters have or want, that dream kind of faded away for me a long time ago. Um, I expect to be booed into Tottenham Hotspur because I've been booed into every arena, leading up to this fight. I don't see why it would change. I thought maybe after my fight against Liam Smith, getting booed into that arena twice, going back in there after losing the first fight, avenging that defeat when everybody said I was finished. Um, everybody said I was washed up, won the fight, was respectful, shook everybody's hands, didn't do any of the trash talk. I thought, okay, well, surely now I'm gonna get some support, be the good guy, whatever you want to call it. And then I go to Daniel Dubois versus AJ at Wembley Stadium, 80,000 people. I walk into that stadium. I come up on the screen. My face comes up on the screen as I'm walking in, and the entire stadium boos me, even after a career best performance. So it's not in the cards for me, and I've accepted that, and I've come to terms with that. The interesting thing about this fight is that there will be two bad guys
Uh-huh.
walking into that stadium on April 26th. It could be the first mega fight where both fighters are getting booed into the arena, which is, I don't think has ever happened before. This is the potential to be that. But again, it's not something I focus on. I've dealt with it for years, and it's kind of something that it's just a part of my journey now. It's a part of who I am as a fighter. It's fun. I enjoy it. I love the haters. I love the doubters. I love getting booed into arenas and drinks flying and seeing that anger in people's eyes. I feed off of that energy now, as sick as that sounds. So it's okay. But Conor does not. That's the big difference. Conor is a completely different animal to me. Conor is, he used to be the golden boy. Everyone was behind him. Everyone supported him. Everyone wanted to see him become the next big thing. And now he has an army of haters just like me. But there is a difference. The people that hate me, they love to hate me. It's something that they've done for years and years and years, and it's just a part of the event. Eubank's there. Boo! Let's give this guy some shit and throw stuff around and shout stuff. That is part of the event. For him, for Conor, people despise hating him because he had it. He was the guy that had all the support, and then he screwed it all up for no reason. For a quick shortcut in our first fight, he ruined it all. So people hating him, and it's going to be the first time he's going to be booed into an arena. So we'll see how that affects him on the night, I guess.
Okay, there's a lot there. And again, this is why I love speaking to you, because you're so thoughtful with your responses. Was there ever, you're 7 years older than him, so it takes a while to get to the point where you're at peace and almost revel in the booze. Was there ever a point where it bothered you like you think it bothered him or will bother him?
Oh, for sure. For sure. When it first happens to you, it's horrible. It was for me anyway. I never thought that I would be that guy, because all I'd ever done was dedicate my life to the sport of boxing. So why am I walking into arenas now and boxing fans are booing me when all I've done is be a boxer, is be a fighter, is train hard, is fight hard. The first time I got booed into arena was against Billy Joe Saunders 11 years ago, and it was a dark, harrowing experience, and it's happened every single fight ever since. It takes a lot of getting used to. Conor Benn is not there yet. He's never had that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it affects who he is in that ring on the night.
I think you're in for a surprise on the night, because I think you are going to get cheered. I think that people view you as the anti-hero in a way. You're anti-establishment. And I'm wondering if you feel those cheers. Obviously, you're focused in the moment, but even in the build-up, will there be a part of you saying, no, you don't get to come around now? You did that to me. You turned on me 11 years ago. You don't get to cheer me now. You don't get to be on my team now. Do you feel that way towards the public?
No, I have no animosity towards anybody, except maybe Conor Benn right now. The fans are the fans. They are the reason us as fighters are able to do the things we do. The people that are booing me and wanting to see me lose, they're still paying their ticket. They're still buying the pay-per-view. How can I be upset with these people? How can I be against them? And yes, of course, I do have fans, but it seems that the people that want to see you lose are a lot more vocal, especially in my case. You see it online, the trolls, the keyboard warriors, and it's become a part of who I am as a fighter, being people loving to hate. I still don't really get why, because if you're talking about real villains, real bad guys, that's the drug cheats. That's the people that lie and steal and and who cut corners and have no morals and no respect, no dignity. Those are the actual real bad guys. And it's funny because a lot of those guys are the ones that get cheered into arenas. Uh, so it's like, what do? Do you sell your soul? A lot of guys do. A lot of guys become people they're not, you know, for, to try and build a fight or to become a name. I've always just stayed true to myself.
Just before you said you have no animosity towards anyone except maybe Conor. You have said, I don't hate Conor, just like your father said he didn't hate Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn said that he hated your father, and you've sort of echoed the same sentiment. But I hear you say now some animosity. So have things changed at all?
No, animosity and hating somebody are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, I do not like Conor. Of course, I have disdain for this man. He tried to cheat. He did cheat in our first fight 2.5 years ago. He took performance enhancing drugs. He was caught and the fight got called off. So animosity is rife between me and him. But hate is that's a very dark energy. That's a very consuming mentality to have towards somebody or someone or people. I would never give anybody that type of power over me for me to be able to hate them. That's saved for
Yeah. Oh. Did we lose you, Chris?
Conor Benn. I'm not giving him that. I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. It just kind of froze there for a second, but I think you're back.
Okay, where did it freeze?
Just a moment ago, where you said that you're not gonna give him that. You're not gonna allow someone to have that kind of control over your body, your emotions, hate.
Yeah, it's too much power to give somebody, especially someone you're going to get in the ring and fight. For me, emotions do nothing but complicate and stifle and ruin a performance. When you really hate somebody, you're not thinking straight. You're not acting accordingly. You're not sticking to the game plan. All you want to do is tear this guy apart because you hate him. I do want to tear this guy apart, but I'm going to do it clinically. I'm going to do it with a boxing brain, not a mind full of hate.
The animosity seems to stem from the drug test failures. The first time around, there was none of that. It was just about, the two sons going toe to toe. Do you subscribe to the notion that this time it's much different? The build is much different. The connection or lack thereof, whatever you want to call it, between you and Conor is much different. This is a completely different fight than the one that was supposed to happen in 2022. The motivation as well.
For sure. It's very, very personal now. Before, it really just was, all right, our old men fought 35 years ago. The people want to see us fight. What a great story. And it is a great story. Now, me and Conor have our own history. We have our own beef. We have our own story. You mix that together with the fact that our fathers have fought and were two of the best British boxers of all time. It makes for an insane event, an insane story, an insane night of fighting, because it's real and it's never happened before in the history of boxing, and it will never happen again. And that's what excites me about this fight. It cannot be replicated. It's impossible. Unless, you know, me and Conor have sons now, and in 35 years they get in the ring and fight. But that's not going to happen. So, well, never say never, but it's just, it's so impossible to think about. This is a one-off fight. And I'm excited, man. I'm ready.
Is there a rematch clause for either of you?
Yes, there is.
For who? For both of you, or?
I believe so.
Okay, so there's a chance you might be doing this twice.
There is a chance we may be doing it twice. Yes.
Okay. Obviously I want you to clear something up if you can. Everyone talked about the egg slap, but after careful, breaking it down and all this, we looked at all the different angles. My determination was that you were actually holding multiple eggs when you slapped it, because the noise and the amount of yolk. Is that accurate? Because everyone said egg, but I feel like it's actually eggs slapped. It was too much. Am I accurate?
I had multiple eggs in my pockets.
Okay.
The Louis Vuitton jacket I had was filled with at least 9. Some of them rotten, some of them were, old.
Oh, wow.
But I only had time to grab one in that particular instance. I would have loved to have grabbed more. And I thought, when I was thinking about it, the dream was to be able to just unleash. But one was all I could muster, and one was enough.
Did you take rotten eggs on purpose?
Absolutely. I bought the cheapest, oldest, crustiest eggs I could find from the worst store I could find. That's what this kid deserves. The worst of the worst.
And how long before the presser did you come up with this idea?
2.5 years ago.
Okay. So you said the next time you see this guy, this is what you'll do.
The day I found out that, they were saying that these drug tests, these failed drugs tests, were because of contaminated eggs. The day I heard that story, that fabrication, that fantasy that they really kind of stuck with, I said there and then, I'm going to hit this guy with an egg across the face as soon as I get a chance. And that was 2.5 years ago.
Wow. And you sat there the whole time with the eggs in your pocket?
Yep. I sat there. I walked into the press conference. One of those puppies cracked, actually. In the jacket, you have like a Louis Vuitton man bag or purse. I don't know what you call it, but it's attached to the back of the jacket. And I had a few eggs in there, and one of those puppies did crack, unfortunately. Damn. But everything else that were in the pockets in front, they were fine. And yeah, I knew what I was doing. It was planned. It was anticipated. It was an egg of justice. It was a symbol. It wasn't about attacking him or hurting him or slapping him. It was about making an example. This had to, I had to shine a light on the fact that he was a cheat. Too many times these guys, so many guys in the industry, they get popped for drugs, they pay a fine, they serve a little ban, and then they're back in the ring, and 6 months later, a year later, like it's nothing. And people forget. I couldn't bear for that to happen in this instance. I had to do something which was going to let people or remind people for the rest of this kid's life. You are a cheat, and there's no hiding it. There's no forgetting it. This will stay with you for the rest of your life.
Are you really being fined $100K by the BBBOC? Are they really fining you $100K? Hey there, sorry to interrupt. just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it very much. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up too. You know, we've got live shows, interviews, clips, and a whole lot more going on this here channel. All right, now back to the show.
Yes, they are fining me £100,000, which is actually about $125,000.
Yeah.
Which is, it's strong, man. These guys never find anybody that much. And I think that, you will know that there's been way worse things happening in press conferences than a guy getting hit by an egg. So it's unjustified, I think. And, we're going to have to, we're going to have to deal with that.
Are you going to appeal it?
We are in the process of dealing with the situation. I don't want to go too far into it because it's legal and there's a lot of things going on in the background. But we will deal with the situation.
And to be clear, the bet with Eddie, it's off?
Yes, Eddie the Weasel Hearn made a bet that his ass couldn't cash. That's what he did, giving it the biggin in front of Ben Shalom, telling him, I want to put £1 million in escrow for the fight, my guy against your guy. He said it on camera. So I said to the world, I accept the bet. We both put our $1 million in escrow. Once the fight's done, whoever wins gets all the money. And, he pussied out. He started using, the excuse of, I received an email. This is a grown man. This is a grown businessman. In fact, one of the biggest businessmen in the sport of boxing in the world. If he wants to put £1 million somewhere, he can do that. No one can send him an email telling him he can't. He doesn't want to do it because he was lying. That's all he does. He lies. And nobody pulls him on it because he is a powerful figure in the sport. And fighters don't want to offend him. They don't want to get on his bad side. Oh, maybe I won't be able to get a fight, or maybe I won't get paid, or I don't care about any of that shit. If you lie, if you fabricate, I am going to expose you to the public, which is what I've been doing.
And so one of the things that you also brought up was that you were going to pay all the undercard fighters that were supposed to fight on that card in October of 2022. Are you still planning on doing that?
Why wouldn't I be planning on doing it? And I said it.
Sure. Oh, so how are you going to go about doing that?
I will send each and every one of them the money personally to their bank accounts.
Wow.
So there were, I don't know exactly how many, maybe 12 fighters, give or take one of. So each one of those will receive a percentage of the £50,000.
Wow. And you feel like you need to do this because they weren't compensated anything, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn, Conor Benn, Matchroom, they pulled the rug out from underneath everybody.
No. Froze up again.
I'm going to try to connect with him again.
Fight through it. Or maybe we'll connect with him again. Man, he's so good. He is so freaking good, that Chris Eubank, fighting Conor Benn on April 26th. God, he's so good. There's just something about the way he speaks. Mesmerizing, captivating. He's amazing at it. I can't wait for this fight. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, April 26th, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. Beautiful stadium. I was there in late August. Saw Spurs, Everton. Good game for Spurs on that day. I think they won 4-0. Brendan Johnson, 2 goals this past weekend. MBD, I think 11. on the season, but it is going to be some kind of scene. It's a great card, especially for the British public, but it's a fight that everyone's talking about. Okay, let's go back to Chris. Is he there? There he is.
I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you said you're gonna reach out to them and pay them because they didn't do that.
Right. So Eddie Hearn, Conor Benn, Matchroom, they pulled the rug out from underneath all of us. They tried their hardest to make the fight go ahead, knowing that Conor was using steroids, but it ended up not happening. And all of these fighters had to pay for entire fight camps. And a lot of people don't know that these fight camps can be very expensive. You got to pay sparring partners, you got to pay trainers, nutritionists, accommodation, physiotherapists. There's a lot of things that you have to pay for as a fighter. None of these guys were compensated by Eddie or Matchroom, and they were the ones putting on the show. They should look after their fighters. They didn't. Obviously, I didn't get compensated either, but that's not the point of this. I always felt bad about that. I know how much I spent on my camp. Luckily, I'm in a blessed position to where I can spend money in a camp, not fight, and I'm straight. The money I've made in my life, inside and outside of the ring, I'm set for life. I could stop boxing today and I'm good. So it doesn't affect me. But for most fighters, going through a whole camp and then not fighting, that puts them in a really bad spot. So knowing that, I said I would pay £50,000 towards the group of fighters that were involved in the first fight that never ended up being able to fight. And I will personally be sending each and every one of them money to their bank accounts very soon.
Well done. Much respect. This is the big one. The last time we spoke, Chris, you were very open and honest about the relationship with your father, the state of the relationship. And you've been asked about it and you talked about it that week. I do understand last month you did see your father at an event, right? I think Harlem was fighting, right? Harlem Eubank. And I understand
Yes.
you spoke a little bit, right? How did that go?
It was good and bad. There was some good parts, and there was some not so good parts. We haven't spoken since, so it didn't go that well. But I'm still hopeful that we can at some point, figure out a way to get into this fight. I do still hope we can do that. We'll find out in the coming weeks.
That time that you just spoke together, was that the first time in years that you spoke?
Yes. Yeah, it was the first real conversation we'd had in a couple of years. And it wasn't that long. We didn't have time. He was there for Harlem, and they had to go and do the walkout before his fight. But it's a start. It's something to build off of.
Are you confident he'll be at the fight on the 26th of April?
No. Like I said, I haven't heard from him since that day. So I'm not confident of anything, but I will try my best to get him there, or to facilitate him being there.
Did you invite him when you spoke to him?
Yep.
And what did he say?
He said the fight isn't going to happen.
Why not? Why does he feel that way?
Your guess is as good as mine, buddy. It's it sounds crazy, but at the same time, he said the same thing before the last fight. So it's like I can't even call it crazy now because it did happen the first time. But it's just not going to happen this time. It's impossible, virtually impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it's virtually impossible. And even if that was his mindset, I feel like he should still be, supporting. But he has this mental block about this whole thing. I don't know why. It's it's obviously just something. He's got his demons. He's fighting, and he's got something in his mind that he can't get over. And you know. I don't know. I got to just try and help him through it, I guess.
Safe to say you'd like for him to be there.
Of course, you know, this fight is you know, it's happening because of what he did 35 years ago in the ring against Nigel Benn. That's how this whole thing started. Yes, it's taken on its own story, and now it's become this big thing between me and Conor. But if you're talking about the origin, that is him and Nigel Benn. So of course, I would love for him to be there.
Are you prepared for the feeling, like on fight day or fight week, as we approach the 26th of April? If you come to the realization that he's not going to be there, will you feel deflated, disappointed? This is your father. You still do love him. How will that affect you on the night if you realize that he won't be in attendance?
It won't affect me because I've been doing this alone for too many years now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's something new. It's not like he's been with me this whole way and then all of a sudden, where is he?
Right.
I'll be disappointed for sure, but it definitely won't affect what I have to go out there and do. The task at hand stays the same. The game plan, the mentality, the mindset, it doesn't change. It changes for nobody. I have to win.
When Conor says, like when you're on the Piers Morgan show or at the press, that he doesn't like you, does that sting?
Does it sting? It doesn't sting. Conor doesn't know what he's talking about. He's saying things because he's a meathead who's just trying to get a reaction out of me. He doesn't know the real relationship that me and my father have, what we've been through. You know, it's just more annoying than anything because it's just like, come on, like that's all you got. That's all you can say. You know, your dad doesn't like you. Like, you know, of all the things, you know, we've had so much time to prepare for these interviews and press conferences and TV shows. How are you coming into these things with like one or two lines? Like, are you that much of an idiot that you can only muster up 2 or 3 lines? Your dad doesn't like you. You're an idiot. You have the IQ of a 5-year-old, and I'm gonna smash your head in or something like that. He keeps saying, he says like 2 or 3 things over and over. That's what he says. I don't know how someone can be so stupid. But, you know, I guess not everyone can be educated. Not everyone can be able to talk and make sense of what they're saying.
What about when you see Nigel up there with him? Does that make you feel some sort of way?
No, you know, it's a father and son. You know, he's backing his kid, and that's how things should be. Yeah.
Shortly after that meeting, and we'll let you go in a moment, and I really appreciate the time. I know it's getting late over there. Your father did speak to the Ring magazine. Did you happen to see what he said about your conversation?
No, I didn't see that. He spoke to Ring magazine. What was this, like a tweet or something, or
They said they spoke to him in an article that was published 25 days ago on their website. I thought it was interesting. I'll read it for you if that's okay. He said, "The moment was, as it always is, meaningful." Eubank Jr. said of the encounter, "I love my son just as I love all my children, and I'm deeply grateful for each of them. Seeing him again, I could tell he's grown. There's a wisdom in his face and demeanor that wasn't there before. No matter what has happened, I will always have Junior's back. As a father, I know what to look for. When you've lived long enough, you can see it, the shift. The naivete that once lived in his eyes, it's gone, replaced by experience. And experience isn't something that you just read about or get from being told. It comes from going through it, from making mistakes, from taking the hits that life throws. And that's what I saw in him, someone who's been through the fire, shaped by his own journey. But like all of us, the journey isn't over yet." That's among the many things he said. I'm wondering what you think when you hear that.
I mean, that's great. I'm glad he thinks that. I'm glad he said that. Yeah, you know, that was the reason why I separated myself from him in the boxing world, because I had to go through it. I had to experience what it was to be my own man, walk my own path, not be in a shadow anymore. I couldn't, imagine retiring and you haven't really had any real experiences of your own, outside of, the bell going and you're alone. But outside of that, not making your own decisions, not being a part of your own journey and your own career, business wise, controlling the people around you. Like, I couldn't have somebody living that life or living my life for me, which is what he was doing for so many years, especially at the beginning of my career. So it's good that he's seen that, the reasons why I stepped away, and, he's seen that I have matured because of that. I think I was already very mature before, but he just couldn't see it because he was just so controlling. But at the end of the day, those words are all good and well, but we still don't talk. So it's like, it's hard to really understand exactly what's going on in his mind when it comes to me.
On the flip side, he did say he was disappointed with the egg incident and that wasn't the values that he had instilled in you. He went a little bit longer, and he said this on his YouTube channel as well, condemning the incident, feeling it's not the Eubank way. What did you think when you heard him say that he wasn't happy with it?
It isn't the Eubank way. When have you guys ever seen me do anything like this before? Never. I had a guy, Spike O'Sullivan. This fucking guy kissed me in a face-off, a head-to-head face-off. I didn't throw a punch. So I'm not that guy to be putting my hands on opponents. But I felt like this had to be done. I had to make an example of this guy. There are kids watching this event, watching this fight. I can't have them thinking that they can go and use drugs and they'll still be able to get to these positions and people will just forget and let them get away with it. No. If you do it, you're going to get embarrassed. You're going to get made an example of. You're going to lose all your respect. You're going to lose all your credibility. This is what I'm trying to take from Conor. He doesn't deserve it. They talk about he's cleared. You are cleared to fight, but so has every other fighter who's got popped for steroids and then they're back in the ring. Everybody gets cleared eventually. What you are not cleared of is the fact that you had performance-enhancing drugs in your system. You are not cleared of that. 1 second.
We'll reconnect there. I don't know if he's taking a phone.
You are not cleared of being a cheat. And the only way I could make sure that it was never forgotten and that he could never go back to being the golden boy and the good guy of boxing, which he was before, is by crushing an egg across his chin, getting that snapshot of him, with the yolk dripping down the side of his chin piece, and he's gritting his teeth. I'm going to make a T-shirt of that. That image is going to stay with him for the rest of his life, and that's what kids will see. If you treat with drugs, you're going to pay for it.
One last thing I just want to ask you about what your dad said. He said that he would like for you, at the end of the day, to fight Canelo. To beat Canelo, he must listen and adhere to his father, his trainer, the one with the all-seeing eye. If Junior truly wants to cement his legacy, then there's only one road left, and that road leads to Canelo, saying after this fight, that's what you should go after. Do you agree with him?
I do think that is, a next logical fight, and this fight, Turkey is saying, can put me in a position to get in the ring with Canelo, which would be amazing. So I agree with him on that. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't fight Conor. He thinks that Canelo is the only guy I should fight. And that's not how boxing works. This is a fight that the fans are demanding. They have been demanding it for years. this fight is bigger than boxing. It's mainstream in the UK. You know, in the UK, it's probably bigger than a Canelo fight, you know, because the general public don't know who Canelo is. The boxing fans do, but the general public don't, because, you know, the general public aren't boxing fans. They don't know anything about boxing. This is a fight where you got kids, you got grandmas, you got people that don't know or care about boxing at all, and they're going to be at that fight. You know, this is a very special thing we have here. So yeah, you know, people ask me about what I'm going to do next. I have no interest in even thinking about it, because this fight is so huge for me, and yeah, I cannot wait to get in that ring.
Are you concerned with the rehydration clause?
Concerned? Sure. It's nothing. It's something I've never done before, and I still don't know how I'm going to do it. I said I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna have to, you know, I put on maybe around 14 pounds after a weigh-in. So I'm gonna have to either, you know, cut down on what I eat and drink so that I can make the 10-pound limit, or I rehydrate and eat like I usually do, and then on fight day, I get in a sauna or a steam room for 30, 40 minutes and take the 4 pounds off to make the weight. I still don't know which way I'm going to do it, but you know, I like a challenge, so we'll see.
Last one, as you dream about the fight, I'm sure it's consuming all your thoughts, all your dreams. What are you feeling? What are you envisioning on the night? How do you see this actually playing out?
You know, as a fighter, you always envision and dream and foresee victory. You know, how, when, what round, all of those things. I never really focused on all that, because boxing is just too volatile. There's too many, you know, there's too many things that can happen that throw off a game plan, you know. So I'm not going to say I'm going to knock him out, or I'm going to outbox him or outfight him. I'm prepared for each and every one of those outcomes, and victory will be secured by any cost, at any cost, within the rules of boxing.
Chris, much appreciated. Tremendous stuff. Truly, it's a masterclass what you're doing in the build-up, and I know it's not just about the talking and the promotion and all that stuff. It feels real. It feels from the heart, authentic, and it's captivating. It truly is. You are cerebral when it comes to the way in which you speak of the fight game and this particular personal fight, if you will. I hope, if nothing else, I hope your father is there. I really, truly do hope that, and I think I speak for everyone. I hope he is in attendance, in your corner, by your side. I think everyone wants that. Even I think Conor Benn fans want that as well. Fight week, you guys should be together on that day, as he should be there, and I pray for that for you, truly. And I hope it all goes well for you on the 26th of April, and I wish you the very best. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Ariel. Anytime. Good speaking with you.
Thank you so much. There he is, the great Chris Eubank Jr. What a guy. What a character. And we like Conor Benn around these parts as well. He has always been very thoughtful, very down to earth, very open and honest. I cannot wait for that fight. It was originally supposed to happen on the 8th of October in 2022, almost 3 years ago now. That's how long this saga has been. And there was a saga to get to the 8th of October. And now here we go, 19 days away at a much bigger venue, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is a beautiful, one of the best stadiums I've ever been to, arena, stadium, sports venues. And that's a big day in the UK, in London in particular, because one half of the FA Cup semi-final happening on that day. Your Nottingham Forest will be competing on the 27th of April. So we could, guys, go to the fight. You know, we were trying to decide, but it has since been revealed Forrest playing on the 27th. So we could go and just focus on Eubank Benn on the 26th and then, go to Forest City on the 27th. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. What a guy.
Take no convincing.
What a guy, huh? What a guy, that Chris Eubank.
Cerebral.
Is there anyone like him? Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.